Hello and welcome to the January 15th edition of Thursday Night Thunder podcast with AJ and MMK. I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and tonight on the most hardcore motorsports show on the internet, Mike and I will start 2026 with a bang, preview the Rolex, or before the Rolex 24, and discuss why we are your source for the latest and greatest auto racing news on the planet. Recently, NASCAR announced that Steve Phelps has made the personal decision to step away from the company and his role as commissioner of America's top motorsport. Phelps, who joined NASCAR in 2005, will transition out of the company by the end of the month, leaving a legacy of leadership in a strategic vision that delivers innovation, championed equity, and social justice initiatives, and created industry-wide opportunities for all stakeholders.
Under Phelps' leadership, the sport has transformed its annual schedule with extraordinary new events and bucket list fan experiences, reshaped its strategic vision, expanded its international footprint, secured long-term media rights and charter agreements, and assembled a world-class leadership team focused on building the future of stock car racing with fan experience at its core. Among his most important priorities has been welcoming all fans into NASCAR. His other achievements include the integration of NASCAR's landmark merger with ISC, launching the record-setting next-gen race car in 2022, only the 7th new vehicle in the sport's history, and many other accomplishments that position the sport for continued success. In other NASCAR news, NASCAR announced the return of the Chase as its National Series Championship format beginning in 2026, harkening back to the roots of NASCAR's original postseason format that was in place from 2004 to 2013 in the NASCAR Cup Series. The changes come after an extensive review that included collaboration between owners, drivers, OEMs, tracks, broadcast partners, and most importantly, the fans.
The enhanced format follows an exhaustive playoff committee and fan feedback review that put forward three key recommendations. The first one, a larger sample size for a championship. Second, bolster the importance of consistency while maintaining the importance of winning. NASCAR has implemented each of these cornerstone pieces of feedback by making the following changes for 2026 and beyond. First off, the chase is back. NASCAR returns to the end-of-season championship format, maintaining the intensity and urgency that define postseason racing. Simply put, the driver with the most points after the postseason slate will be crowned the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. The chase will consist of the final 10 races for the NASCAR Cup Series, the final 9 races for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, a similar proportion and calendar timeline between regular season and postseason races. Are consistent for each series. When entry in is gone, a race will no longer guarantee an automatic entry into the chase, increasing the importance of every event of the schedule. Winning is still valuable, but drivers must continue to perform at a high level throughout the regular season.
Race-winning drivers will earn more points. A win will now earn the race-winning driver 55 points. Previously, a win paid 40 points. The goal is to reward drivers who go for wins, not just strong points days, and ensure aggressive racing and strong team performance remain central to each weekend. Points for all other positions, including stage points, remain the same. The chase will feature the top drivers in regular season points. Returning to a points-based qualification system reinforces the value of consistent season-long performance and ensures the drivers who execute across the full schedule earn the chance to compete for a championship. The chase in the NASCAR Cup Series will feature 16 drivers. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series field will be set at 12 drivers, with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series field at 10. The points leader after the regular season will receive a meaningful advantage. As recognition for sustained excellence, the top driver at the end of the regular season will earn a 25-point cushion over the second seed.
How do you feel about the changes that NASCAR is making, and do you think there'll be any more before the season starts?
I think we could potentially see more, but I think changing the championship format again, especially back to the chase, I think that's a good start. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's just something different, it's been a while, and yeah, I think that will be really interesting. I don't know. I like the, win and you're in, I think it made it a little bit more exciting, like I don't know. But I think it will be good, and I think that will make it really interesting. What do you think?
I think that in a way, which might be a good thing, but and plus the playoff format seems a little confusing at times, especially with the end where you end up with just the basically the top few guys are eligible for the championship no matter how they finished in the race, and that kind of made it a little odd. I think it might end up being interesting this year, especially if one of the teams ends up running away with it, which is possible. That happened in the past, of course, with people like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and that. So I'm sure they're trying to avoid that as much as they can, but you never know, that could happen. Um, I'm sure that some of the drivers, Kyle Busch is happy with it because he's always been a proponent of a full season point schedule. So is Denny Hamlin, of course. He's going to be competitive this year. So I think the more interesting thing is the fact that Steve Phelps left. I think part of that is, of course, related to the lawsuit uh, because he made some statements during that didn't look good for NASCAR, and I think made it easier for the 2311 and front row to get their way a little bit better in the end. Um, I'm sure there are going to be other changes, especially in the front office and especially early in the season. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I know that that Kennedy is pushed a little bit harder, and there's been some other changes in some of the other teams as well. So we'll see how that goes. It should be a really good year, though.
Yeah, I think they're kind of off to a good start. Do you think the lawsuit has kind of, I don't know, in a way maybe opened NASCAR's eyes slightly?
I think so. I think that and the reason why they're changing the format of the chase and all that is to increase the amount of fan engagement in the sport, especially because it seems like they haven't been selling quite as many tickets, especially for races like Daytona, which at this point last year, Daytona the Daytona 500 had sold out already. Now it's less than a month out, and it has not. That's not to say that tomorrow morning could wake up and all of a sudden Daytona 500 sold out, but at least at this point last year it was already sold out, and it still has quite a few tickets left. I'm sure they're going to be advertising like crazy when I have there tomorrow. So we'll see. But could be a good thing. And I think that I know the teams are excited about it. I know that NASCAR seemed really excited about it, but you never know how that is really behind closed doors. So it all depends on how the season goes, and we'll see how that is in less than a month now.
It's kind of funny. We talk about how NASCAR kind of has their hands in, a lot of stuff like movies and stuff. And we were watching WWE the other night. I think it was like Monday Night Raw or something. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. I'm not that technical about it. But anyways, they had Connor Zilic on there. And I just had to kind of laugh because it's kind of another thing that NASCAR appeared to, have somewhat of a hand in. So it was just kind of funny, but because we've talked
As long
about,
as he,
you see them
as long as he
in
didn't fall down
everything.
and hurt his head up in there. So yeah, it would have been bad if Connor Zilic had bumped his head in the WWE event. That would have been pretty funny.
Well, my husband was like, Michael, do you know who this NASCAR driver is? I said, you do too. Bless him. I said, he's the one that had that accident. And he's like, oh. I was like, yeah. So I think if you're not a fan of NASCAR, and bless him, he's a really good driver, but I think if you're not a fan of NASCAR, you probably still know who he is because of that incident.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing him tomorrow. I think he'll do really well in the Rolex 24 as well next weekend. He's going to be racing for Cadillac there, so it should be a really good event. And he's won at Daytona before when he raced in the P2 series, so he'll be in the GTP car this year, and I think he'll pretty much be in the front of the pack the whole time.
yeah, that will be fun to watch. What are you most looking forward to about that event? I know you're not looking forward to the cold. Well,
Just
are
looking
you?
forward to being up there. Yeah, it should be a good race. I think think that it's going to be cold for tomorrow when we go up there for the practice. Next weekend's supposed to be chilly as well, but shouldn't be as bad. But next weekend I'll be watching it from the comfort of my den there because it's a long race and it gets a little old after a little while. But heading up there for the practice tomorrow will be cool. The Roar Before the Rolex 24 is one of the most amazing test sessions that they have for any sort of motorsports, and it's a really fun event to go up there and see all the drivers. You get really close to the teams, and you get close to the cars, and if it's as chilly as it's supposed to be tomorrow, there won't be as many people. So hopefully, so you might be able to get closer to some of the drivers and actually get a chance to talk to some of these guys. So that should be good.
Yeah, that would be nice. You'll have to sneak in a selfie, whether they're looking or not.
There you go. Unfortunately, we were scheduled to have a guest for this evening. We're supposed to have a guy from the world of motorcycles, Cameron Bobier, on tonight. He was scheduled to be on the program. He's been scheduled to be on the program for about a month now. He had some issues to take care of this evening. It will be rescheduled for later. But with that, if you're a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner, maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport, contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve every 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. Easiest way is to go to thursdaynightthunderpodcast.podbean.com. Check out the information on the bottom of that page. It has contact information there, and you can go ahead and schedule a visit with us on a Thursday night. Going off to the world of Daytona again, the field is set to launch the 2026 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season. First, with the release of the entry list for this week's Roar for the Rolex 24 at Daytona International Speedway. As the test is mandatory for all teams participating in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, the entry list for the Roar should look essentially the same as the entry list for the race when it is released. As ever, the Roar and the Rolex 24 combine a range of IMSA champions, past and potentially future Formula One drivers, IndyCar race winners. Most of the driver lineups are confirmed, with only a handful of updates and additions for the mid-December Rolex 24 entry race list. With the withdrawal of Team Tony's entry, a field of 60 cars is now set to compete. Still 11 Grand Touring Prototype, 13 Le Mans Prototype 2, 15 Grand Touring Prototype Daytona Pro, and 21 Grand Touring Daytona GTD.
The Roar test features 7 total sessions over 3 days. All 4 classes are active over 2 sessions Friday, January 16th, 3 sessions Saturday, January 17th, and a morning session Sunday, January 18th. The 7th and final session of the weekend on Sunday afternoon is reserved for bronze-rated drivers only. That leads into the Rolex 24 race week itself, with 2 practice sessions Thursday, January 22nd, sandwiching qualifying, a final practice on Friday, January 23rd, and the race starts on Saturday, January 24th at 1:40 p.m. Eastern, with live coverage starting on network NBC, on NBC at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and streaming flag to flag on Peacock.
Yeah, it should be a good race there. It should be really interesting. I did watch a little bit of the Ford Racing had an event today. They had a live stream that ended roughly an hour ago, talking about the Ford 2026 and 2027 racing plans. So they concentrate a lot on the Rolex 24. They talked a little bit about the guys Mike Rockefeller, of course, and Seb Priol, who will be racing in the Mustang this weekend, the GT3. So they'll be out there, but they'll also be GTP car, the hypercar. They'll be competing mostly in Europe. They'll be the 2 of the drivers, the third one being announced at a later date. They didn't announce him a little bit today, but they didn't confirm him as being in the car. So it'll be cool to see how that goes. Ford Racing does have a great history in sports cars, and I hope they have a really good weekend and a really good season. They did also have the NASCAR guys on there, some of them. So that was cool. If you have a chance, be sure to check out the Ford Racing 2026 preview show. I'm sure you can find that on YouTube if you look for it. It's a really good event. So what's the big racing thing you're looking forward to in the next few weeks?
I'm not sure. There's a lot going on. The seasons, the professional seasons have all started. Our kind of big thing coming to Washington in the next month actually. We have Supercross coming to Seattle. So that's pretty cool. I don't think I will be attending that. It's a whole month earlier than it usually is, and it's already cold when they normally do it. So it's going to be extra cold this year, and I'm a big baby about being cold, so that's when I will be watching from the television. So, yeah, and then in March we got our like local tracks starting back up. So yeah, pretty much the only big racing thing around here right now is we do have Supercross coming soon, but you guys got all kinds of crazy things
Yeah, I
over
saw
there.
the Supercross season kicked off already, so that was on this past weekend. I didn't get a chance to watch much of it, but I did see it was on. So, and I don't get the information about Supercross anymore. I don't know they've changed their PR people again, so it became a little bit more difficult to keep track of that, at least on my end. But hopefully, we can go and reach out to them again in a few weeks and see how that goes.
Yeah, I really like it. I don't know, it's different. I mean, I really like all types of motorsports, really, but there's just something about watching them, and they're pretty aggressive too. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm like, wow. And it's just mind blowing the stuff that they do on those bikes, like in the
Yeah.
wide open. So I think I find that the most intriguing. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. I enjoy watching it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I missed the one Supercross event I've actually had the chance to go to live was at the Citrus Bowl, and we were really close, and you had a chance to go through through back behind the scenes and all that, and that was awesome. Now the closest one now is in Daytona, but that's also an awesome event because they do it in the infield there and it looks kind of neat. That'll be coming up during Bike Week, which is the first weekend in March. I did originally think about heading up there, but now I'm not so sure. It depends. But like you said, the racing season is definitely kicking into high gear now with the big thing, of course, being the Supercross last week, and of course the World before the Rolex 24 coming up tomorrow. So should be pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. I was gonna ask you though, if you had the opportunity to race like an IMSA type car or a NASCAR type of car, or whatever, or even a bike, I guess. Out of all of those, if you had the opportunity to do one and they said, Adam, we want you to do a whole race for us, what would you pick?
I'd probably choose the IMSA car because the road racing seems more intriguing than the cup racing, especially with the ovals and that sort of thing. And all the IMSA races are all either road courses or street courses, so that motorcycles are scary. I've never really, never really been on a motorcycle, so I think that might be cool to try if they do the ride along thing sometime. But uh, driving in an IMSA car would be pretty neat. I've actually had a chance to do that, to ride along in an SRO type car, which is the supercar type racing that they have, that runs street courses. A lot of the IMSA guys race in the SRO as well. So I had a chance to do the ride along there at Sebring one time. That was pretty cool.
Oh gosh, I bet that was something that got the adrenaline going.
Hmm. Yeah, it was really neat too. And the people who worked that out was awesome. I've had the chance in the past several years to make some friends in motorsports, and that was really cool to do that. Um, it was through the guy who used to be the PR guy from Mazda Motorsports who got me connected to Tristan Nunez originally. So that was pretty cool. So hopefully I have a chance to continue some of those sort of things. I'm working on expanding that. We're getting more opportunities all the time, and I appreciate that. In fact, tomorrow I'll probably be wearing a sponsored shirt from Kufandi, which is it's a NASCAR sponsor that they had a thing last year. So they sent me some some free stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and wear my Kufandi shirt that's made cool enough to do that. It's a hoodie type thing, so it'll be cool. So if you see a guy in a NASCAR jacket with a Kufandi pullover thing, say hello. I'll be there.
That sounds nice. For the listeners, what color is it?
Gray. It's a gray pullover type thing. It's not really anything, and it'll definitely keep my head warm, and that's the idea. Tomorrow it's supposed to be just below freezing in Daytona at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we plan on getting there probably about between 9 and 10, depending. So definitely need to keep my head covered. That's the plan anyway. And I'm also going to bring my yellow beanie hat, which I wore in Daytona in the past when it was really really cold at night. So I'll have that, and there you go. Um, that's a little much. I did wear those at Key West last week, 2 weeks ago, but no red, white, blue suspenders, but definitely the NASCAR jacket, the Kufandi hoodie, and the yellow beanie thing. That's my plan. I may wear gloves. It's going to be chilly there, and chili is not good. So it's good for the car. It's really good for the cars. It's not necessarily good for the tires, but it's good for the cars. They run really well in the cool. The tires probably won't grip very well, and might be a lot of spinning tomorrow morning.
Well, just drink some hot cocoa.
Yeah, it's going to be chilly. It's going to be interesting, and I think that the some of the teams are going to be ready for it. Some of them are not. So we'll see how it goes. I am interested in seeing some of the teams there. AO Racing will be cool to see tomorrow. They're the Rexy team, so that'll be cool. Might be interesting to see some of that. Um, I think that the Cadillacs are going to do really well, like I said, with Connor Zilich. So and the Taylors, of course. So that'll be good.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. That sounds exciting.
Hopefully it's not too crowded. Like I said, because sometimes if you have way too many people, it's just like going to it doesn't make it special. But when there's fewer people, it's really cool. You get to get closer to the cars, closer to the drivers, and all that. So that makes it more interesting.
True. And I don't know. When you have a little bit of space, you're able to kind of take it all in better.
Mm-hmm. Plus on Saturday be more crowded there, of course, because the Boy Scouts are going to be there on Saturday, and that makes it a little more insane. Um, Sometimes there's way too many Boy Scouts there. That's an awesome thing they do, where they give the Boy Scouts the free admission and all that, but there are a lot of Boy Scouts weekend. So I know some will arrive tomorrow because they're going to have the NASCAR types tours in the evening, and they've got the fireworks there and a movie, I think. But we'll be long gone by then. So, but it should be good. Hopefully, it's a good weekend. There's no incidents, and everybody has a good test session. They're all ready to get ready for the season.
Yeah. I just can't believe we're already to this point. We're already to season's opening.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's 2026. I mean, these past couple of years have flown by, and they haven't flown by for good reasons. They just are flown by, and hopefully, it's a better year. It's a nicer year, and everybody has a good, healthy year ahead. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
I agree. I agree.
There we go. So, how's your family racing operation there? Are you planning on doing any additional competing this year?
They were kind of working some form of deal because my nephew needs another car, and they were like trying to figure some sort of deal out. But the problem that they're running into is everybody around here wants to run like a Honda because they're front wheel drive and you can do kind of a few things to make them faster. So the motors and stuff are extra hard to come by, at least over here, for like race cars and stuff. So that's their hiccup right now, is they're having a hard time finding a motor for the car that they want to get going. So yeah, but I think that's, like I said, that's kind of a problem over here. But then I also heard that that's a problem because they're old cars and they're cars that, well, people make into race cars, but I guess they're cars that people kind of, I'm not going to say didn't take care of, but you know, people made them faster and stuff. So I guess a lot of the cars have kind of, you know, already been wrecked a while ago. So that's why it's so hard to find stuff for them. But yeah. So no, nothing major yet. We still got probably about another month and a half before anything cool like that. But yeah. So yeah. Now that you asked about the
your kid involved in the Power Wheels racing. That's what you need.
You know, I should get him involved in something because I can't take my eyes off of him. I can't take my eyes off of him for 2 seconds even, because the other day he was out there riding his Power Wheel and he has 2 slides. One's like a little bit taller slide and one's a little bit smaller slide. And I looked over and I knew he was driving his Power Wheel, but he was in the yard, so it was fine. And I look over and he's trying to drive his Power Wheel up his slide. And so I had to go out there and put a stop to that. I said, you don't drive your Power Wheels up things, especially not slides. And anyways, so yeah. So maybe not like monster truck drag racing, but if we had a little kid league or series for monster truck going up slides, he would be probably the champion.
He's practicing for his career in rallycross.
Yeah, something. I guess so. And yeah, and he didn't care. He didn't care. And that car was halfway up the slide and his wheels and stuff were off the ground and he didn't care. He was going up the slide. So yeah.
There you go. With that, let's hope that it's a good year of racing and everything's healthy and everybody does well. I hope it's a good, clean weekend there in Daytona. Should be really good. They've got a lot of new cars out there, and hopefully they'll have a good time. And hopefully the drivers have a really fun weekend, and it leads into a good race next week. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder by visiting facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. Listen to previous episodes of this show at Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com or on your favorite. Could be Podchaser, could be iHeartRadio, Boomplay, Spotify, Player FM. You can also find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/FABORPLUMBS. If you'd like to support the show, be sure to check out the fan club feature on the Podbean app. You can also go to facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. One of the featured items on that page is the fan club feature of the Podbean app, so be sure to check that out there. So if I do check out my racing news site at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. Did put out a lot of stuff the past few weeks there, including some information about the Formula E race. Formula E season has gotten underway, so we're going to go ahead and check that out. That could be another event we're heading out to. That'll be in about 2 weeks now. They're going to have their race at the Formula One facility there in Miami. So that could be cool. We'll have full coverage of that. I'm going to go ahead and try to reach out to some of the drivers when they're in town. Hopefully we can have them on. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise on my travel blog, which is going to be updated like crazy with news about Key West at For War Plum's Fantastic Finds, which can be found on Facebook, on X, at For War Plums, or at Palm Beach Happening, PB Happening, and by heading to forwarplumsfantasticfinds.wordpress.com.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next month in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing.
Thanks again,